What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to go back into the Showdown Team Builder to do a team building session around Miraidon. So before we do like another general video about just Regulation G content in general, I wanted to get at least one more team building session out, with another restricted, so this way we have at least a couple teams that we can use, to get the format going. Previously, we did Calyrex Ice Rider. We released a couple variants of that, and now we're going to do Miraidon here. And then afterwards, I'm going to do stuff like, a speed tier video. We're going to do like a tier list video, some general cores and ideas that you can do with certain teams, so just like overall meta stuff. But of course, I still like to do the team building stuff early on just because we like to put out teams on this channel. That is the bread and butter for what we do here. So Miraidon, one of the better restrictors that you can use in the format. Same thing with Calyrex Ice Rider. I think they're both within that top tier, within the format here. Again, very aggressive restricted. Look at that special attack stat, 135 there. The speed is also very good, 135 as well. The bulk also, triple digits, 100 HP, 100 defense, 115 special defense, right? And you get terrain here. So Miraidon adds another component that you just weren't really getting in Regulation H. Besides the power creep, you get electric terrain now, right? So you can't fall asleep, and that's important too. And you get a boost to your electric type attacks, and you just get a solid all-around strong electric restricted that can do a bunch of nuke damage, right? And early on in Regulation G, back then when it first started, a lot of people doubted Miraidon, right? And then all of a sudden, it just ends up winning a regional, and a bunch of apology forums were filled out. Because, many underestimated Miraidon's power. And then since then, nobody's underestimating Miraidon's power now. It just does so much damage for what it can do. And it really comes down to math. It's a bunch of multipliers. So what really ends up happening is this. You have the choice specs, right? So that's already a 1.5 boost. Then you add, of course, the electric terrain. And then if you're super effective damage, it's just going to do a bunch more damage here, especially when you have Electrogif, right? So, if you read this again, 1.33333 damage, along with the choice specs, Terra Electric, it's just a bunch of multipliers. Like even a resisted hit just picks up, right? So that's the raw damage of Miraidon here. And then you have pivot potential here, right? With Volt Switch. Now, why would you use this move? So think about what you can do to, weaken Miraidon. A lot of teams are going to bring out the Rillaboom. Okay, or bring out maybe the Indeedee, for example, but mostly the Rillaboom for two reasons. One, you can at least resist the electric attacks, and two, you can take away Miraidon's terrain, right? So now what you end up having to do is use Volt Switch, so this way you can deal some chip damage, reset the terrain by pivoting out and pivoting something else in, right? So that's one way to get around the Rillaboom ideas, from other teams, is just to do that with the Volt Switch. So hence it has to come. And we still need a dragon move here. Draco Meteor, just one big solid overall nuke, is just going to do so much damage. And then in the mirror matchup, people started to do this late in Regulation G when it first started, and that's add Dazzling Gleam over here with the Terra Fairy here. So now what this ends up doing is it allows you to win the mirror matchup, because if it's Miraidon versus Miraidon, you get an electric attack into the other Miraidon, and you go Terra Fairy, which means you don't take any dragon type damage yourself, and you just have a stronger Dazzling Gleam, with the choice specs item. So overall, this was like a very standard moveset with Miraidon. Now, early on, back then in Regulation G, you did see something like this, where you got to use Discharge, okay, with Miraidon here. And then there was a lot of things that were either ground types next to it, or just Terra Ground in general. And we'll talk about those ideas, as we discuss some ideas that we have built for you for Miraidon here. So let me just put back Dazzling Gleam here. So first of all, some key ideas that you want to do is, of course, give this thing some help against the Rillaboom, okay? Besides the Volt Switch, what else can I do with another slot here that's good against the Rillaboom? Second thing is, what else can I have with Miraidon that can also take advantage of the terrain? Then third of all, how do I, take advantage of, trying to outspeed, something like a Chen-Pao or a Calyrex Shadow Rider? These are all things that I'm thinking about as I, build my squad with the Miraidon here. So that's another thing that I want to, think about, is just support options. Okay, and then from there, can I round out the rest of my team, with just other slots that are just good into like other restricteds in general? And that's like the whole idea with Regulation G versus like other formats, is how can you support your restricted and then have a couple slots available for like other matchups against other restricteds. So that's really what it comes down to in Regulation G. So again, those are just some ideas that you're thinking about. But just in terms of, adding something that can take advantage of terrain, let's start here with Iron Hands. Now, for the longest time, even before Regulation G began, and when there were other formats, Iron Hands was a very strong Pokemon. It was top 3 in most formats, and you didn't even have an ability with it, right? Because there wasn't really much electric terrain around. And again, for good reason. Look, 154 HP, 140 attack, 108 defense, and a little bit of Spinef. Not all that great, but this is why you had the Assault Vest with it. So Iron Hands was already a strong Pokemon without electric terrain. Now you add electric terrain, and now you give yourself an attack boost, which is great because that just means harder hitting wild charges, harder hitting drain punches, which means more recovery over time. You get to really punish the Incineroars because, again, they want to come in and intimidate you, but then, you just neutral energy and you can just click Drain Punch, force them to Terra Ghost, and just really put the pressure on them, with just these 2 attacks in general. You still get Fake Out Pressure, which is nice, and Heavy Slam is also pretty good against other Fairy types that want to come against Miraidon. So, you have the steel coverage for that too. And then just Terra Grass has been solid altogether for a few reasons. 1, it gets you around the Mungus. 2, it gets rid of your ground weakness, right? And think about the ground coverage that was relevant in Regulation G. Stuff like Landorus, both Landorus technically, and then other things like Blood Moon Ursaluna or regular Ursaluna was also running around. That these 2 were great, and you can always start here. Then let's add something that can, flip other Tailwind teams upside their head and really put a damper on Rillaboom's ideas too. So this is where something like Farigiraf comes into play. Okay, so now you can set Trick Room, okay, which is great against the Tailwind teams, and you get to support your Iron Hands here because you can set Trick Room, and usually these Farigirafs, they ran Electric Seed here for the defense boost, which is great against something like Urshifus or Chanpals or even like Dark type attacks from Incineroar, for example, right? So just having that extra defense boost on what is already a bulky Pokemon in general just made a lot of sense here. So this was like often the core of your team, all right? And then from here, it's up for grabs depending on how you want to play the squad. But ideally, with Farigiraf, you stop priority moves, so you stop Fake Out Pressure, you stop Grassy Glide, you stop Sucker Punches. So all in all, Farigiraf is a great support Pokemon in this format, and the normal Psychic typing is great against the Calyrex Shadow Rider because, again, you can't really click Astral Barrage against this thing with your normal typing here. And on top of that, you can always just go Terra Water here, which is great resistance against the Ice Rider, and it's also great resistance against the Urshifu Rapid Strike here. So all in all, I think we're doing very well with what we got here with this set here. So we're going to do Foul Play, which is, again, very good against, some of the physical attackers running around. Something like a Calyrex Ice Rider, for example, or maybe some of the other physical restrictors like a Miraidon. You can do something like Foul Play into them, or just do Foul Play into, other ghost types in general that don't want to be taking foul plays. But again, this is just another move to really hamper some of the physical attackers. Psychic is just your stab move overall. And then Helping Hand here, again, just Helping Hand Iron Hands, Helping Hand Miraidon Electrogif just does so much damage in general. Now, in the early parts of Regulation G, a lot of these Farigirafs, this is where they had Terra Ground, and this is where you got to use Discharge on the Miraidon. Now, if you want to still play that way, you can definitely still play that way, but I think the Terra Water is just an overall more consistent Terra option in general. All right, so you have this, and then let's add the speed control idea here. So now this is where Whimsicott came into play. Covert Cloak was great. You can put the sash on this thing if you really wanted to, but we're gonna put the sash on another type of Pokemon here. But I just think Covert Cloak is a great option for your Whimsicott. So this way you don't have to necessarily switch into Farigiraf. So you're gonna have Tailwind here. You're gonna have Moonblast. This is very standard Whimsicott here. But you're gonna have Encore here just to lock opponents. If they want to click Fake Out, you can lock them into that. Potentially protect there, or just maybe if they want to click Trick Room or Tailwind, you can just lock them into that, and they just end up spamming it and have to switch and be out of position later. Encore's a great set. Then you add Light Screen here. Okay, so now this was a late tech, or maybe like more of a mid tech in Regulation G. Light Screen is great because think about all the other special attackers in the format. You have to deal with Kyogre, the Shadow Rider, you have to deal with another Miraidon, you have to deal with like Terapagos, okay? You know, those are just 4 options to name a few. And, you know, that's not counting the non-restricteds either. That's not counting Chiyu, Fluttermane, you know, what else was running around that's a strong special attacker? You know, those, Goldango, maybe Blood Moon Ursaluna. These are all things that are very adept in dealing, of course, special attack damage. So Light Screen helps a lot here. And you're going to see that when I show you a couple of test games here. And it makes a huge difference. All right. After this, then we need something a little bit more into the Rillaboom here. So this is where other teams started adding the Ogerpon Hearthflame over here. So now if they do want to bring the Rillaboom, 1, it's weak to the fire type attack from the Ogerpon, and 2, it makes your grass attack stronger, which means now you have a stronger Wood Hammer, which is good for you, right? And you get another redirect on the team with Follow Me, which is always good because then you can set up or potentially protect some of your sweepers on the team. And then just having a good solid Ivy Cudgel here, good solid fire attack against the Ice Rider is always very good. You still get a Moongus immunity, of course, because you are a grass type, which is very nice. And then just Spiky Shield here, you know, potentially break Sash from another Urshifu or from another, not Urshifu, from another Chenpao, for example. Yeah, you could just do it like that. And then finally, this last slot here, you can just do the regular Urshifu, the dark one with the Sash. Okay, so this is a great Pokemon just for like Lunala. It's good for Calyrex. Both Calyrexes technically, right? You know, Wicked Blow doesn't care about screens. Okay, welcome back Urshifu, right? Close combat. And then you have Sucker Punch here and then just simple detect or protect, whatever one you want to do. Either way, I just think it also just makes sense on a team like this, right? So you've got your Shadow Rider matchup. You got your Ice Rider matchup. Okay, you even have a Kyogre matchup too, you know, with Miraidon and Iron Hands. You've got the Trico matchup ideally. So you've got things going for you. Even Zamazenta, you have some stuff going for it as well, just because you have the Ogerpon Hearthflame. And you even have the Iron Hands / Farigiraf here. Okay, so this is a very standard build, okay? You know, just starting with Miraidon, Iron Hands here with the Farigiraf. That's your core. Then you add the speed control option in the Whimsicott. And then you add the Ogerpon here, solid redirector, solid fire damage dealer against some of the ice and steel types, great into Rillaboom, and then just Urshifu, you know, dark type Urshifu, great against Lunala, Goldangos, and other Calyrex riders, right? Whether they be Shadow or Ice, it's a great Pokemon to have into it. All right, so this is variant number 1. Okay, and in terms of EV spreads, I just want the Miraidon to just be timid 252 in the early get-go, especially when I'm first testing. Because again, think about it. Other Chenpals also have the same speed tier. So in the beginning, I want to see what some of these Chenpals are. Are they adamant or are they jolly? Right? I want to test this out, and I want to see what other Miraidons are doing too. So this way, at least I'll have information, you know, by just going 252, 252, right? Because now what ends up happening is if they outspeed me, let's say if there's another Miraidon there and it outspeeds me, I know it's a speed type because I'm timid 252 as well. So, you know, start with that. And then, you know, in terms of damage, you've got the specs, you've got terrain, you've got helping hand. You know, you're fine with the damage. I just need to survive, okay? And that's the main thing with Miraidon here. All right, Iron Hands here. So let's go Adamant here. And let's just go Adamant 156 to start. This is, you know, the second bump here in the attack stat for Iron Hands. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to get better in competitive Pokemon, you're trying to learn this game, you're trying to do EV spreads that are just not standard 252, 252, make sure you comment below asking what are EV bumps. I will reply to you, I will respond to you, but I have a whole video on this on the channel that I made back in August within regulationG. But if you don't know what these bumps are, you know, essentially what it is that in the natured stat, okay, you're getting a stat boost, right? And then within this bar, this 252 bar, the stat increases by 2 points within every bump, which is every 80 EVs. Okay, so right here, this is 156. This is the second bump here, right? So the first one is actually at Adamant 76, right? Because if you notice, if I move my slider like this, you see how it goes from 185 to 187? What happened to the 186? Did it disappear? No, this is just an EV bump here. So now as I move this slider closer to, you know, 156, another 80 EVs, you see how it still goes back up by 1, okay, which is normal. But now when you go to 156, look at this. You just went from 196 to 198. Where's the 197? Is that magic? No, it is a second EV bump there. All right. After that, if they want to bring Rillaboom against me, sure, they'll let them bring the Rillabooms against me. Let's just go about 84 investment here, 240. So this way we'll optimize our grassy terrain recovery. Just again, picking factors of 16. So 240 divided by 16, you get a perfect 15 HP recovery, which is good. Then you just add 1 point in defense. You don't really need defense. 172 investment in Spadef. This will let you live Landorus Earth Powers and Blood Moon Ursaluna Earth Powers, right? Because you have this Assault Vest here. And then I want this thing to be a fast Iron Hands. 92 investment here, all right, to get you to 164, which is nice, okay? Under Tailwind, that outspeeds that outspeeds a lot, right? So like if you consider Urshifu, right? So let's just go Jolly, for example, right? That hits 163. Right, but now if you have Iron Hands and Tailwind, you outspeed the Jolly Urshifu, which is kind of funny. Then you can just click Drain Punch. So I wanted a little bit more speed on this thing, so I just went 92 speed. Okay, and that'll give you a sense of the mirror matchup too, because if you end up outspeeding them, then you figured, oh, I'm faster, so that means they don't have as much speed as me, right? So look for that. The Farigiraf here, again, we're just gonna make it relatively standard here by just going max HP first, right? Take advantage of that big HP stat. Let's go Bold Nature. Bold, I think, is very solid. This is going to be good against, again, the Chien-Pao attacks, the Urshifu attacks as well, and then just dumping the rest into special defense here, right? So we hit the bump here, right here, and then, I still want to take advantage of the Electric Seed boost with the +1 defense. So I want to have a nice solid even number here. So let's go to 122 rather than 121 there, right? Because again, with an odd number multiplied by 1.5, you're getting a decimal. It'll round your bulk down. I don't want my bulk to round down. I want to have it be a solid whole number. So pick an even number, because an even number times 1.5 will get you that solid whole number, and now your bulk doesn't round down, okay? So keep it there at Bold Nature. Then we'll go Whimsicott here. So honestly, just with the Whimsicott, I'll go Timid, but I want some bulk on this thing. So let's actually go 252 HP. And I don't need that much speed on this. Truth be told, I just need about this much just to outspeed the Urshifu. And that's all I want. Just going to 165 investment. That's fine. That's good enough for me. If you want a little bit more like this, 169, this will let you outspeed base 100. So that's also okay if you want to, could just consider that. But after that, you can just dump the rest here, 108 defense there, and then just put the rest here into special defense, right? That last bit of chip there. So again, outspeed the base 100s, that's okay, and then just add the rest into physical defense there. Ogerpon, okay, so I'm always deciding between like bulk and speed here, but ultimately I just need 76 adamant here. I just need you to the first benchmark there. And then in terms of speed, I think 188 investment is good enough. So like right here, this is enough to outspeed Modest Chiyu, okay, which is good enough for me if I get to hit it first. And then just add 1 point here into the, the bulk stats, and then just dump the rest here into HP, right? And, now I have a bulky Ogerpon that can at least do some offense. Now, if you want a little bit more attack investment, you can just take 80 EVs off here and then just do 80 EVs like this. And now you hit the second benchmark there in the Ogerpon stat. Otherwise, you can just go Adamant 76 and just have a ton of HP just to be a bulky redirector that can also deal some damage, because again, you are getting an attack boost when you do Terra Fire. All right, Urshifu here, this is going to be the easiest one in the book. We're just going to go 252, 252 and call it a day. I will make this 176 rather than the 4 Spadef EVs down here, because again, 176 is a factor of 16 against Rillaboom. I get 1 HP recovery per turn with that, so I'm going to take advantage and just dump it into HP like this. Okay, but this is it. This is our first Miraidon variant team, okay, where you have a lot of options for a lot of different things. All right, so let's just show a couple quick battles here, and then we'll show you the second variant that you could do with the Miraidon to start things off in regulationG 2.0. All right, so this guy here, he's got a Kyogre team with Tornadus, which is, again, another one of those combinations that you're going to expect in regulationG. He also has a Basculegion here, and he also has just a Dark Urshifu, which is great for a Shadow Rider matchup. But I see what he's trying to do here. He also has Rillaboom, so I would expect him to bring that against Miraidon, just because, again, he can change terrain against me. But Miraidon looks great against his whole team here. You have electric damage pressure. for 3 things here, and you have fairy damage against 2 things as well. So Miraidon looks really great. You just need to have something for the Rillaboom ideas, right? So let's see what he does. I'm gonna do Miraidon, and I'm gonna do Farigiraf here, and he's gonna go with Rillaboom, and he's gonna go with Urshifu here. So even though he overrides my terrain, it's not bad, because again, like I mentioned, you can always pivot out and reset it later. So we're gonna chip the Urshifu down to Sash. We're gonna go into our Iron Hands first. Okay, and he goes for CC. That's fine. I don't mind that. And, the Rillaboom tries for the Woodhammer, but we have the defense boost, so that's fine. Now we go for Trick Room, and now our Iron Hands is in a pretty good spot where we can start pressuring under said Trick Room here. So, the Urshifu protects. That's okay. That's fine. I just want to chip it with Psychic here. I want to click Drain Punch just to get some recovery of my health back, which I do. Right, I do get a crit, which is fine. He goes for the U-turn to pivot out his Rillaboom and save it later for the Miraidon. But again, this is still weak to the Iron Hands. So the Iron Hands is still having pressure on the Trick Room. Now he goes into Kyogre. I could have just Wild Charged that, but instead I'm doing this. Psychic comes out here, Wild Charge the Tornadus. Okay, so that drops, because I know that the Urshifu was Sash, so that means the Tornadus was not Sash. Right, now he's just left with Kyogre and Trick Room, and then the Urshifu here, you're at the mercy of the Iron Hands. But now I just Psychic that, and now I just Wild Charge the Kyogre, and that's it. It's over, right? He didn't even bought it to Terra here. He realized, oh, look, yeah, he's got me here with the Trick Room. And now he just goes back to Rillaboom, which we can override later, but it doesn't really matter because he can't even beat the Iron Hands anyway. Okay, so something like this with the Calyrex Shadow Rider here with Indeedee stuff. So he might even just have Expanding Force. But the problem with his team is that there's no Tailwind support. So he's just relying on maybe something like Flutter Mane with the Icy Wind, Speed Control, maybe even like Thunder Wave there. But I don't think that's just going to be enough. I think our Whimsicott Tailwind support is just much more superior than what he's got over here. And we have a lot of fighting coverage too that we can have against a lot of what he has here. It's got an Umbreon and a Chi here that's weak to all of that as well. And then, we always have Heavy Slam. So I'm just going to go Whimsicott first with Urshifu just to see what he has. And there's the Calyrex and there is the Indeedee. This is fine, right? Because again, we don't take, too much damage from Astral Barrage, or we don't take any from Expanding Force. He Terra Ghosts the Calyrex. All right, so I'm going to get up my light screen here, which is fine. I want to reduce the damage that I take. I'm going to punch this Indeedee and get rid of it. Because I know the Calyrex has a Sash here, right? Because that thing was Psychic Seeds. So here comes Flutter Mane, Photosynthesis Boost and all. He protects in front of an Urshifu, which is funny. I set up the Tailwind, I punch the Calyrex, I pop the Sash. Okay, that's fine. And there is the Icy Wind, which he misses on the Urshifu, who hits the Whimsicott. Doesn't matter, I have Covert Cloak. So we're kind of chilling here. I'm just going to Moonblast, right? And he can't even click Aqua Jet in his own terrain. I'm going to click a Wicked Ball. He actually lives it, which is good bulk on that Flutter Mane. That's correct, right? So that's fine. But now here comes Miraidon. I override the Indeedee terrain, right? He protects Flutter Mane. That's fine too. Again, Aqua Jet comes out here. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. You just click Electro Drift and that thing dies. I could have also technically clicked Volt Switch there, but I want to stay in and take advantage of my Tailwind turns here, right? So that being said, he just tries to protect. I go for the Encore Lock here, just to make sure he doesn't. There it is. But overall, this is still like good because again, the Calyrex can't do anything under Tailwind or against a Tailwind over here. So we're just gonna click Tailwind here, and that's it. Calyrex just gets cooked. We outspeed it. He did not have the speed. We end up having the speed because Whimsicott is good this format, and that's how that match ends. Right? Goodbye, Flutter. Alright, with the second variation here, it's going to be somewhat similar to the first one, where we're still going to keep these 4 pieces because I think it's a very, very good core with Miraidon, and just add, some other stuff to it. So we're going to still keep an Urshifu, but this time we're going to go with the Rapid Strike Urshifu with the Sash idea here. And Surging Strikes is busted, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, and of course Detect over here, right? / Protect, whichever one floats your boat. Either way, I'm going to go Terra Stellar, just for that big burst damage here, and then just dump the rest here. 2/5/2 set over here, Jolly Nature, and that's really all we need out of this Urshifu, right? This last slot here, I like Chiyu. In all honesty, I think Chiyu is a great Pokemon in this format, especially with the Choice Scarf variant. Why do I say that? Because you get access to Snarl, and this is really going to cripple the Shadow Rider. And with the Scarf, again, if you look at your EVs, if you just do a little bit of math, Calyrex's speed after, against a Scarf, just lets Chi-Yu outspeed it. Because the Calyrex, you need 149 to outspeed it. Technically, you can even push that at 150, but the Chi-Yu outspeeds that, so that allows you to just go modest and still have enough speed to outspeed the Shadow Rider and Snarl at first, right? And this is why some of them start to go Code for Cloak for that example, but that means no Sash for you, and I think you're very vulnerable without that Sash. Anyway, with Chi-Yu, we're going to have Heat Wave, we're going to have Snarl, we're going to have Dark Pulse, and I still like Overheat as our single target fire move here. I think this is always going to be solid and consistent. But either way, this is it. This is variation number 2. Okay, so again, the main difference here is with the Chi-Yu, we get a little bit more of a special attacking presence. We get Snarl support now, along with the Light Screen Whimsicott. So, in terms of the physical threats, this is where you guys come into play. Okay, so this is variation number 2. Let's go ahead and test it real quick, and let's see some battles. Alright, so this guy has a Terapagos, right? And he's got Regidrago stuff, so this looks like very, very good opportunities to try and click Snarl. That being said, we have to make sure that we have our Miraidon in the end game to take care of things, because I do see there is an Indeedee there, and I don't want him to override my terrain immediately, right? So, that being said, let's start things off. So there's the Terapagos, and there is the Indeedee, of course. I expect this, but I'm going to go with the Chi-Yu here. And here is the Whimsicott to try and get the speed advantage here. So, Beads of Ruin looking really good here against a lot of what he has here. Snarl's really strong. Light Screen just to reduce damage from the Terapagos. We break the Terra Shell. Indeedee takes a lot of damage overall. And there's a special attack damage reduction. Starstorm does negligible damage. Actually, not even negligible damage. That did half. Alright, so I'm going to go into Miraidon, override the Indeedee terrain now. Let's Encore Lock this thing. So this way he Trick Rooms right back himself. Which is really good here. So now we have the advantage. Now he has to go into Regidrago. We nuke the heck out of the Regidrago. Actually, we just Electro Drift and it just nukes it. Look at that multiplier, right? We get the crit, but it doesn't matter. Miraidon was in such a good spot there. Now he just goes Ogerpon Terapagos. This is fine. We're kind of chilling from here. Chi-Yu can kind of win this game. But now we just go into Iron Hands here a little bit. There's the Terra Stellar. This is fine. Again, we have Light Screen, which is really good. He pops our terrain, which is unfortunate, but again, we still have more than enough. So look at that. Electro Drift damage does really well. There's the Terra Starstorm. Does nothing. We have Light Screen up, and he just says, you know what? Yeah, I'm done. I'm going to click forfeit here. So even though he busted our terrain, it's still okay because he just doesn't have enough left, and we still have a ton of damage on the board here, and he can't stop both of these things altogether, right? And again, we still preserve the Chi-Yu, so all we really have to do, even if he didn't forfeit, was just remove the Ogerpon, and then from there, the Chi-Yu just kind of beats him because we have the Scarf in general. Alright, this guy's using Dialga Origin here, so don't use this thing, guys. It is not that good. Snarl is just going to cripple a lot of what he has, and then I still have to be careful of Instant, and the Ursaluna, and technically Iron Hands too. So, I might boost his Iron Hands, so I have to be careful in how I use my Miraidon here. But Chi-Yu still looks interesting to use. That being said, it's only really good Snarl against the Dialga Origin, because other than that, not super amazing. So I'm going to go Miraidon first with my Iron Hands just to try and put pressure against him. There's Dialga and there's the Ursaluna. This is fine, right? If he protects, he protects. This is like Earthquake telepathy shenanigans here, right? So there's the Electro Drift. Of course, he's going to resist it, but Drain Punch just destroys Dialga because, again, I just simply outspeeded. He does click Earthquake. We do lived, right? Just because, Flame Orb was not activated yet. There's the instant for the Intimidate, which is fine, right? I'm just going to go into Farigiraf here, right? I have a speed advantage on my Iron Hands. I unfortunately click, Drain Punch into the wrong target. I switched in Farigiraf just to deny Fake Out, and he just takes out my Iron Hands. If I did it into Instant, great, but I guess the Ghost Terror wrong. I thought he would do it into the Instant. This is fine. Now we've got Miraidon here. I'm going to click Helping Hand. I'm going to take out the Instant because I know he's just going to protect the Ursaluna. And after this, we just win from here because, that read makes it so that we have the advantage. He can't protect anymore, and now he just has no choice but to forfeit over there. Alright, another idea that I have Miraidon here is, besides the Whimsicott, I can play the other prankster Pokemon and just go with the Grimmsnarl. So I can go the screens variant. So instead, I'm going to play a little bit slower, but I'm going to play a little bit more bulkier, right? I like Grimmsnarl screens. You get to stall out a lot of different things and still have good bulk here and ruin a lot of damage costs just because of the screens idea. So lights, I'm going to go with the Light Clay here on the Grimmsnarl. Where's that thing? wait, I took out the ability. So here we go. Light Clay, right? Of course. And then we're just going to have Foul Play, which is still really good. So double Foul Play users, Light Screen, Reflect, and Thunder Wave for this speed advantage here. So we're going to go Terra Ghost so we don't get faked out potentially. And I'm just going to give it a standard set here. I'm going to go Careful Nature. Let's go second bump here with 122 investment. A little bit of speed just for a tiny bit of the mirror. Just dump the rest here into HP and then just put the rest into defense, right? So something like this, right? And then you just do this, right? Just put 4 there and dump the rest here like this, right? So that's all we really need out of the Grimmsnarl shenanigans, right? Just Careful Nature and then just invest into defense after this. You can even just drop some like this and then just put a couple more points there into defense. 103, nice, solid, even, odd number, I would say, you know, for just overall bulk. After this, then what I want to do is put back the Ogerpon Hearthflame. So I'm still going to use my standard set that we used before and just recopy paste it. But what's also going to come here is the Blood Moon Ursaluna here. So I like Blood Moon here, you know, just for a lot of different matchups. You can hit the Calyrex. You can pressure another Miraidon for that matter. You can pressure Incineroars too, which is really, really nice. And, you know, under Trick Room just thrives because you can just spam Hyper Voices and, you know, Earth Powers and Blood Moons. We're going to go Life Orb here. Okay, we are going to go Terra Normal for a little bit more damage. Then we'll just go Blood Moon, Hyper Voice, Earth Power, and of course, just a simple Protect over here. Okay, in terms of an investment, we're just going to go 0 speed, Quiet Nature. We are going to be a super bulky team, but just max special attack, a little bit of optimization for the Life Orb, dump the rest here into special defense. That's really all you need your Ursaluna to do. So this is variant number 3. Again, going with the screens idea, you know, just relying on overall bulk. We do have Trick Room mode here, and just, again, having bulk while just nuking things and protecting them, you know, with Follow Me support just makes it so that Miraidon is just harder to remove. So let's look at some test games. Let's see how this variant performs. All right, so this is like, again, some standard Zamazenta team. They've got Chien-Pao, Ursh, Rillaboom. That's pretty standard. Then you've got Icy Wind, Fluttermane, or even Thunderwave Fluttermane for speed control. And then the Landers here is just a nice overall support option on a Zamazenta squad, but meant to deal like big damage, right? So welcome back, Landers. So all in all, I just have to be careful with how I use my Miraidon. Obviously, he's got a Rillaboom, so he's going to pressure it. I do like Ogerpon Hearthflame into this matchup just because if he does bring the Chien-Pao and or the Rillaboom, the Ogerpon is going to have a great time, and we can pressure the Zamazenta also as well. So he's going to go Rillaboom as expected. He's going to go Chien-Pao too. That's fine. We're going to go Grimmsnarl, and we're going to go with the Ogerpon Hearthflame here. So easy idea is, again, just force the fake out. If he fakes out the wrong target, that's bad for him. I'm going to go fake out into the Grimmsnarl here, which he does very nicely. And now I Terra, so that means I avoid the Icicle Crash damage, and I hit the Rillaboom for so much, and the Rillaboom drops. So now I will have terrain control later on in the end game, which is good news for me, right? And the Chien-Pao is just making me hit harder. So he goes Terra Stellar, that's fine. I'm going to click Spiky Shield. I'm going to click Reflect just to reduce overall damage. And the Landorus is going to go for Sludge Bomb, which I very much live. So that's good. That's good news for us. We don't get poisoned and we survive. So now we can click Light Screen. And now there's the Throat Chop, which again, we still live. There's the Sludge Bomb. Of course, that's going to kill from that range. But now we can bop the Landorus and kill that. So Ogerpon is just doing so much here already. Now it's just Chien-Pao and Zamazenta, which is fine because now we've got Iron Hands too, and we can have terrain advantage later on. There's the Protect, of course. Double Protect, technically. All right, just to scout out for what I'm going to try and do. He sees it, so I just repeated it again. Did I repeat? No, I didn't. So I'm going to protect myself, and let's see what he does here. Icicle Crash comes out. That's fine. Then he goes for the Body Press, also fine. Not a huge deal. I do get the flinch, so I have to just click everything over again, which is still fine, right? Again, he can't really stop this idea. So there's the Crash, unless he flinches me again. There's the Body Press. It does remove the Ogerpon, but that's fine. No flinch here, so this time we are able to Gen Punch the Chien-Pao and get all our health back. Now, Miraidon can clean things out here, but the speed interaction is important because the Ice type attack hurts, and it does, but Reflect saves the day. We click Electro Drift. Right, could have even clicked Dazzling Gleam. but the Miraidon beats us. And now it's just Iron Hands versus Sam, and Iron Hands will win this matchup over time because, again, Drain Punch is super effective. Body Press is not. So we just keep clicking Drain Punches, and eventually we get the upper hand. We beat the Zamazenta squad, and, you know, just it's a good rep for our squad. Okay, this looks like one of those Cosmic Power Toxic Eternatus sets, which is, again, unfortunate and rather annoying. And I see that because, look, he's got Grimmsnarl, he's got Gashodon Yawn, he's got Cresselia, Life Dew, Recover stuff. God knows what he's got. But he's going to lead with Garganical. He's going to lead with Grimmsnarl. I'm going to lead with Moon Ursaluna, and I'm also going to lead with Iron Hands here. So he goes into Farigiraf to stop the fake out. That's a great play from him, honestly. But we're going to go Heavy Slam first, and we're just going to blow up that thing originally, but he just went into the Giraffe. So Heavy Slam picks up the Grimmsnarl, which is good, right? And then there's Hyper Voice, which still does a lot of damage now that he has the boost. Now we just click Blood Moon, get rid of this Farigiraf, we're okay. And now we can just go into the Garganical here. He's got the Eternatus. This is still like okay, right? Because again, we still have a lot of things in the back. Now he goes Terra Grass. I want to protect the Ursaluna a little bit, right? Just in case. And, you know, we do see like a double tap in general. But there's the Drain Punch. We get a little bit back. Not a whole lot, but we do get a little bit back. All right. So that being said, he tries to land a Assault Cure. Not going to let him do it. He does land Toxic though. So all we have to do is just keep punching this thing, right? And if anything, just click Earth Power on the Eternatus, right? So I think I do want to do that, but I have to get rid of this thing first with Blood Moon. And there goes the Garg. And now he's just all alone. Now it's just a 4-on-1. And he's going to try and make up for this, but I don't think in reality he doesn't. Toxic comes out again, but now we just click Earth Power. We almost kill, but this thing will die next turn. We just have to protect for a turn, ideally, right? So there is the Iron Hands yet again. I get to recycle Fake Out next turn, which he clicks Protect now. Good news for us. Follow Me comes out, okay? But here we do get the Fake Out, and we do get to click Ivy Cudgel. It does live, but he's not going to be able to live two of them, right? Of course. So that being said, all right, let's go into Miraidon here. I do expect another Protect coming in, but obviously just recovering is his best idea, which is exactly what he's doing, right? And now we just close it out with Iron Hands, and this is already fine. This was actually an interesting game. Like, I had to pivot in position, which is good, but now this is just straight nuke, and don't be worried about it because he teared other things later. Now he gets to Protect. This is fine. But again, doesn't really stop Miraidon from clicking the dragon move that we're just trying to click, but he's not letting us click. Now we connect. Now he forfeits. Couldn't do that 4 turns ago. He wanted to play it out. But all in all, you know, our support options, our tools, we're doing the job. All right, folks, so here are the Pokepastes. Again, we're going to link these in the video description, so this way you can give them all a try. Here's the first variant, again, with the Whimsicott Iron Hands Farigiraf, with Ogerpon Hearthflame, and the Dark Urshifu. Very solid, aggressive team. Then Miraidon number 2 looks to the Chiyu option to help support the Miraidon in general. And here is the Sash Focus. Here is the Sash Urshifu Rapid Strike to complement the aggressive core. And then finally, in Miraidon number 3, we go away from the Whimsicott. We go with the Grimmsnarl instead, going for bulk and just para-hack speed control. Then we can still have Blood Moon Ursaluna onto this team, where we have you know, another damage dealer besides the Iron Hands here, just going for straight nukes. And again, the Ogerpon Hearthflame also makes a return here just to do big solid damage, solid redirector to help out the Farigiraf ideally. But again, looks really good in a lot of different matchups, you know, just because of the damage that it can output. Okay, so let me know which one you try and do, but hopefully this will get you started for Regulation H, and hopefully get your feet wet with Miraidon. And if you need help with your own team, and if you need to book a session for team building because you got a local coming up, or maybe you got a regional in January for Regulation G that you need to, you know, prep for, now is the time, because again, we're going to be in holidays, right? You know, vacation time, you know, so this way I do have the whole week where we can just do stuff in the morning, do stuff at night. Either way, if you want to book a session with me, Tier 3 is what you want to do. If you look in the video description below, if there is a link to join the channel with that Tier 3 sub. Otherwise, if you look in the pinned comment section, you can find the same link to join the channel with that tier 3 sub, and that gets you a one-on-one Discord meeting with me. So you can just simply message me on Discord. You can join my Discord. That's free. And then just reach out to me. And once you've done the tier system, then we'll plan accordingly and get you whatever you need. All right. But that's it for now, folks. Enjoy the Miraidon team. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.